All right, well, we're going to start. It's getting pretty late. All right, did you hear that?
Yep.
All right. It's going to be a little different today. All right. Let's see if I can get this to work. All right, we're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to have a person do it for us right here. So here we go.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States
of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation under God,
indivisible, with liberty
and justice
for all.
Okay, did you guys hear that?
Yep.
Good.
Very cool.
Yay, that worked. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Oh, I think I lost it. Okay, Bill, would you read the prayer?
Gladly. When our day is just beginning, give us time for patience, for understanding, time to remember thoughtful deeds to do, time to believe in all fellow men, and the time to perceive the value of having Rotarian friends. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Jerry.
All right, thought of the day. I've seen this one before. I changed my password everywhere to incorrect. That way, when I forget it, it always reminds me your password is correct.
I like that.
Okay. Oh, stop share. There we go. Okay. I do see our speaker here today, Erin. And before we get to her, I just wanted to say that we did get a card from the Grateful Garment. I don't know if this is backwards or whatever. But anyway, they sent us the card and a letter thanking us for our donation. So I just wanted to let you know that. And then as far as the play garden goes, I just got a check from Johnny Camus's office when he was in District 10, and they gave us $5,000. So we got another $5,000 added on, and plus we did get money when Matt Mahan talked about the play garden at his District 10 State of the district, and we're around up to 30,000, including our 15 grand, but it's slowly moving around. But we need to, if we keep getting more people involved, then when we ask for these grants, we show that the community is involved and like, hey, give us, these people can't all fund this $3 million project, give us, 50, 100, 200 grand. So if you can keep, you have the link on the Grapevine where you can make your donation. And if you want to do a pledge, let me know, and I'll fill out the work on the Donor Perfect, and they'll send you a reminder someday. And send it to your friends and see if we can get some, more interest involved in this. So, and also we do have till September to get our final number down, as close as we can get to the $3 million project number that we would like to have. So is there any questions?
So you just go to the link in the Grapevine to donate?
Yes.
Okay.
And then if you want to pledge, because we count the pledges too, and we just, collect it before September.
Okay.
Okay. Rebecca, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, sorry. So just so you guys can know, the district conference date has changed. The location's still the same. It's still at Gilroy Gardens, but the new date is July 17th. It'll be all outdoors. And we're hoping to have a, good representation from our club, and maybe we can do a little meet and greet in the parking lot with our club specifically and walk in together and so forth. Spouses are welcome, but the details of the full event are still being determined. Some more details to come, but the date has changed to July 17th.
Is it just one day?
It is one day, yes. So that's all members from our district. Kind of a social event. Not kind of, it is.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everything will be there so we can do that. It'd be nice to have a big assembly. So if do we want to do a vaccine update for anybody who's gotten their shots? Their 2 shots. How many people have gotten their 2 shots?
I am.
There's Jerry, Miles, Johnny Gisto. Did you get your 2 shots?
Where is he?
Oh, he's here. He's
His
not
made him
there.
invisible.
He's
And Bill, did you get your 2? You got 1 shot. Okay, and I got 1 shot. So we're moving forward. Seems like it's all the older people, right? So hopefully everybody will get them by July. It looks like that's what the plan is.
pretty soon you'll need.
All right, so I see Erin's here, and Erin, you can share your screen. She's our speaker today. Hi, Erin. Erin DeMeritt specializes in social media management, media relations, and digital communication. She's a Bay Area native. Erin grew up in the East Bay and graduated from San Francisco State University with a BS in Business Administration. And Erin will be covering winter and summertime air pollution concerns and what we can do to improve air quality, wildfire preparedness, and the Air District Spare the Air program. So if you want to join a club, Erin, we could use a social media expert in our club.
That's great. Hi, Brian, and hi, everyone else. Thank you for
Hi.
that introduction. Should I go ahead and share my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. So my name is Erin DeMerritt. Oops. I'm a public information officer with the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, which is quite a mouthful, so we usually call it the Air District. Today, I'll be giving you guys an overview of the agency, our Spare the Air program, and talk about wildfire preparedness. And please, if you guys have questions at any point, feel free to just unmute yourself and shout them out. So our mission, the Air District aims to create a healthy breathing environment for everyone in the Bay Area while protecting and improving public health, air quality, and the global climate. So I'll give you a quick overview of the agency. We were the very first regional air pollution control agency in the United States, which means that we were the first to have a multi-county jurisdiction. Our jurisdiction is the 9 counties that surround the San Francisco Bay. And within that jurisdiction, we have about 101 cities and over 8 million residents that we serve. We've been around since 1955. We cover roughly 5,300 square miles. And if you can see this map here, that is a map of our air monitoring network, which is one of the most comprehensive networks in the nation. Each of those dots represents a monitoring station. And the data that's collected from these stations is how our meteorologists forecast air quality. Kind of how like you get the weather forecast on the news, we give you an air quality forecast.
You're going to hear this?
So Erin, how are the locations of those determined?
So that is quite an in-depth process. These monitors are very expensive. They're EPA certified monitors and they can be up to like $500,000 each. So while we can't have one in every city, they're designed to be representative of the general area where they're placed. So they're placed very specifically and designed to be representative of air quality in the region as a whole. All right, so now we're gonna watch a short video, I think it's about 5 minutes long, about how air quality affects residents.
I'm Abby Young. I'm a principal environmental planner at the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. When I was growing up in the East Bay, there were a lot of days when you could see brownish, orangish, hazy smog. It's so much cleaner now. A lot of it is because of the things the Air District has done. Really what it comes down to is the world that I want to leave to my kids. My son rides his bike to school most days. I might have actually been a bit inspired by my son. He has a pretty long ride to get to school and he loves it. I thought, well, if he can do it, I can certainly do it. I started riding my bike, and after I did it once, I realized how easy it was and how great it made me feel. I just decided I would do it. The moment I get on my bike and I start turning the pedals, I just get in a good mood. Whenever I see, the roads choked with cars, that is just a reminder that there's a lot more work to do. Whether it's working on global warming and climate change, or it's working on improving local air quality, the whole point is that I'm leaving a better environment and a better Bay Area for my kids.
I'm Azubuike Akaba, and I care about air quality because everybody deserves a right to breathe fresh, clean air. Diesel impacts the air quality. You can see it in buses and trucks, and also from the port, from the stationary equipment. Everybody benefits from the goods movement, but what we don't see is an equal distribution of the burden. In this case, that's the air quality. If you go into older homes near diesel generating sources, you can look at the windowsills and see that there's a black dust. If you can see it, you're breathing it. Work with the Air District to identify policy strategies which can reduce the emission of diesel from the port. These policies are here to benefit the community, and that includes the people who work and live in those places. And therefore, it seems like unnecessary bureaucracy to adhere to the policies, but in the end, it's healthier for everybody.
I'm Dennis Dakota. This is my service station. I've been the owner-operator for 35 years. I'm a Marin County person raised in this community, and it is my responsibility as a business owner and a property owner to safeguard the environment. The Bay Area Air Quality Management District is the regulator. I am in full support of that type of regulatory oversight. I have no problem with it. As a businessman, it saves me money from the standpoint of having any kind of product breach or polluting the atmosphere. Part of those regulations I helped develop as input from the business side. That's the type of working rapport that is needed between industry and government in order to take and make a regulation work. My granddaughters, they're going to have to live in this environment. And if it's polluted and unhealthy, what's tomorrow going to bring?
My name is Josh Anstey. I work in Rutherford, California. We have about 500 acres of grapes. We focus on Bordeaux varietals, so we have Petit Verdot, Malbec, Merlot, and then a little bit of Semillon, Moscato, and Chardonnay. Watching the grapevines go through the season is always an exciting thing. They're a perennial crop. They go dormant and grow back. There's a lot of grapevines that can last, 30, 40 years. And because of that, a lot of the decisions you're making are long-term. We have a very strong dedication to the environment. maybe 3 years ago, the Bay Area Air District was starting a program to replace old diesel engines. We use a lot of our pump engines for both frost and irrigation. Cleaning up and replacing our diesel engines has a lot of beneficial effects. If I woke up one day and the air quality in the Napa Valley looked like it does in LA on a bad morning, I think it would have a big impact on your life, both medically and I think spiritually, quite honestly.
All right, so there are two main pollutants of concern in the Bay Area, and those are ozone and particle pollution. So while the Air District does measure for other pollutants in the air, like sulfur dioxide and carbon monoxide, as well as several others, those pollutants never really reach levels that are concerning to our health. So today we are going to be talking about these two. And although the Air District isn't a specific health agency, we know that these two pollutants can affect our health. But first, let's talk about the Spare the Air program. So Spare the Air used to be known for its free transit component, which was over a decade ago, but that still seems to be the thing that sticks out in people's minds. We still operate the same program, but without the free transit component. It was created in 1991 to alert residents when air quality is unhealthy and to share information on ways to reduce air pollution every day. The way the program works is our meteorologists look at data from the air monitoring network that you saw a couple slides ago. And if air quality is expected to be unhealthy, then we will issue a Spare the Air alert. The program runs year round, but the air quality problems in the summertime are a little bit different than in the wintertime. So let's take a look at summertime air pollution. This is a snapshot of summer air pollution sources in the Bay Area. It's taken from our 2019 annual report. Ozone forming pollutants are the biggest concern in the summertime. It's a combination of on and off-road sources that contribute to ozone, or smog, as you might know it. On-road sources are like cars and trucks. Off-road sources are ships and agricultural equipment, trains, all of that kind of stuff. But vehicles on Bay Area roads remain the largest source of air pollution in the summertime. So by issuing an alert in the summertime, we encourage people to limit their driving. And if people suffer from asthma or other respiratory illnesses, then we encourage them to stay indoors during high-risk hours. And high-risk hours for ozone are when it's the hottest because, as you can see on this graphic at the top of the slide, smog forms when pollutants react chemically with heat and sunlight. So in the hottest part of the day is when ozone concentrations are usually the highest. Ozone can irritate your respiratory system quite a bit. It can get to your eyes, nose, and throat. It can cause coughing and headaches, and that can last, for hours after exposure, and it may even become painful. Ozone can also reduce lung function. So what does that mean? Lung function, when I say that, I mean the amount of air that you draw in when you take a full breath, and then the speed at which you exhale that air. So ozone can make it more difficult for you to breathe as deeply and as quickly as you normally would. And it can also aggravate asthma. I have asthma myself, so I know this firsthand. Ozone makes you more sensitive to all of those things that trigger your asthma attacks. And when ozone levels are high, more people have attacks that require a doctor's attention or require them to use extra medications. Ozone can also damage the lining of the lung, kind of like a sunburn damaging your skin. It damages the air spaces in the lung, but same as with a sunburn, within a few days, your lungs will repair just as how your skin would naturally recover from a sunburn. So what can we do to improve air quality? There are lots of ways, but the most important way that you can spare the air in the summer months is to avoid driving alone. So if you can walk, bike, or carpool, that's a great way to improve air quality. Remember not to idle your engine. This one's especially important during the pandemic because a lot of people are getting curbside pickup or sitting in drive-thrus to pick up their takeout. So just remember that if you're there for longer than 30 seconds, you can turn off your engine. Link your trips when you're running errands. These are great ways to reduce your vehicle miles traveled. Another great way to do that without even leaving your house is to have your online orders shipped together. So Amazon and a lot of other sellers have an option where you can say, you know, I don't need my items a day early. I can wait an extra day and have them all shipped together, which is a great way to reduce air pollution. Continue composting and recycling organics. And lastly, share your knowledge and encourage these clean air choices. All right, so now let's take a look at wintertime air pollution. So this is a snapshot of wintertime pollution sources. They are a little bit different than summertime. And PM 2.5, or fine particulate matter, is the big concern in the wintertime. And the main source of that PM 2.5 pollution is from wood smoke, from residential wood burning. It accounts for almost 40% of the total air pollution on any given day during the wintertime. Other major sources are industrial facilities, refineries, vehicles, of course, are always going to be a big source in the Bay Area, and other mobile sources like ships and construction equipment. So in the wintertime, Spare the Air is a little bit different because instead of encouraging you to limit your driving, it encourages you to limit your use of fireplaces and wood stoves, since this is the largest contributor to harmful air pollution during these months. On Spare the Air days when fine particle pollution is high, burning wood in your fireplace is actually illegal. As well as excessive smoke is always illegal, and burning garbage or plastics or other harmful materials is always prohibited. We do have an enforcement program. The Compliance and Enforcement Division is probably the largest division within the Air District. It makes up almost a quarter of our staff, and they patrol Bay Area wide on Spare the Air days for wood smoke violations. So what is particulate matter? It may sound familiar to you because particulate matter is also the pollutant of concern in wildfire smoke. And you can see on this graph here, it shows the size of PM in comparison to a human hair and to a grain of sand. So it's super, super small. You can't see it with your naked eye, but even though you can't see it, it's still harmful to your health when you breathe it. The fine particles in particulate matter are small enough to be inhaled into the deepest recesses of our lungs, where they can actually bypass the body's natural defense systems and make their way into your bloodstream, which is what makes them, such a threat to our health. Exposure to particulate matter, even in the short term, has been linked to lung irritation and increased permeability in lung tissue, which is how it can get into your bloodstream. Aggravation of chronic lung diseases and rapid loss of airway function. It can cause changes in blood chemistry that can result in clots that may lead to heart attacks. And it also can cause increased susceptibility to viral and bacterial pathogens, which can lead to pneumonia. So even though healthy adults can experience these health effects, children, the elderly, and those with lung or heart conditions are the most susceptible. So what can we do? Of course, we can avoid burning wood. That is the best way to avoid wintertime air pollution. You can also sign up for Spare the Air alerts so you can get notified when air quality is unhealthy, so you can both protect your health and know when not to burn wood. You can also upgrade your fireplace if you have one to an electric insert, and the Air District has a program that can help you do that. It's called the Wood Smoke Reduction Incentive Program, and it basically just provides money to help lower the cost of exchanging your wood burning heating device for a cleaner option. And finally, if you must burn wood, always check before you burn. You can call the number on the slide or visit us at sparetheair.org for the daily wood burning status. And if you're wondering how to get notified for Spare the Air alerts, there are tons of ways to do that. You can get them via email, text, or phone call. You can get them on your newsfeed or by downloading the Spare the Air app. If you see, I think that's the 4th bullet point down, you can visit sparetheair.org/alerts. And on that page, it will give you lots more information on how to get notified and get yourself signed up so that you never miss an alert and you always know when the air is unhealthy to breathe. So here's an interesting slide. This data is from almost a year ago now. It's pretty crazy to think that we've been in lockdown for almost a year. But this is an estimate of the emissions reductions due to the reduced traffic following the shelter-in-place order last March. So based on cell phone tracking data, so this is not, this is a rough estimate. We estimate traffic was reduced 50 to 85%. And that reduction in traffic led to emissions reductions of 30 to almost 45% in some cases with these pollutants here. So that's a really major decline in pollution. And it was pretty amazing to see this last year and to experience this very clean air quality, some of the best air quality on record in the Bay Area. Some people even said that you could see the Farallon Islands from the East Bay Hills, which is crazy. So these are preliminary monitoring estimates. Meteorology data is different every year, so it's kind of hard to make apples to apples comparisons, but as this is studied more, we will hopefully learn more about how the traffic reduction affected air quality. So although we experienced some of the cleanest air last year, we also experienced some of the worst air quality. I'm sure everyone remembers this day was September 9th, and that was the same day that the sky was orange. So I'm going to just go over a few recent wildfires that we've had in the Bay Area. In 2017, we had the Tubbs fire. That was one of more than a dozen large fires burning simultaneously in 8 Northern California counties. At the time, it was the most destructive in California history. The next year, in 2018, we had the Mendocino Complex fire, which burned for over 2 months starting in July of 2018. And that is still to this day the largest recorded fire complex in our state's history. And just a few months later, we had the Camp Fire, which inundated us with smoke for over 2 weeks, which seemed like a really long time back then, until of course this summer when we had over a month of poor air quality due to all of those lightning complex fires, which are now the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th largest fires after the Mendocino Complex. So we know that wildfires are becoming more frequent and more intense. So now we're going to hear from one of the Air District meteorologists about what you can do during a wildfire to protect your health.
If a wildfire affects air quality in your area, protect your family from the negative health impacts of wildfire smoke. Minimize your exposure by following these tips.
The first and best defense is to stay indoors with windows and doors closed, where air quality is better. Set air conditioning units and car ventilation systems to recirculate to prevent polluted air from moving inside. Pay attention to local air quality reports and stay alert to any news coverage or health warnings related to smoke. During high heat and heavy smoke events, keep indoor air cool. If temperatures are too hot indoors, visit an air cooling center, mall, library, movie theater, or other buildings that provide filtered air. Avoid prolonged or heavy exertion and either move or reschedule outdoor activities. If possible, leave the affected area until pollution levels subside. If individuals desire a mask, only N95 or N100 respirator masks should be worn. Bandanas and typical surgical masks do nothing to protect against wildfire smoke particles. N95s are not available for children as they do not fit properly and can impede breathing and may be dangerous for certain persons with lung or heart conditions. Finally, to avoid creating additional air pollution when levels may already be high, refrain from wood burning, lawn mowing, leaf blowing, driving, or barbecuing. Know what to do in the case of a wildfire to protect you and your family's health. Check out our wildfire preparedness video to learn more.
All right, so this slide shows a bunch of screenshots from the Alert Wildfire Camera Network across the region on September 9th, the same day that you saw the satellite image of on the last slide, showing these orange skies. And why the sky turned orange is because those smoke particles in the air scatter sunlight. So the smoke particles scatter blue light, and they only allow yellow, orange, and red light to reach the surface. And if smoke becomes too thick in a certain area, most of the light will be scattered and absorbed before reaching the surface, which can cause dark skies. So we got a little bit of both. We had dark orange skies that day, which was quite scary to wake up to. So just to recap the video we just saw, here is what you should do during a wildfire. The best thing you can do is just to simply avoid exposure. If you can leave the affected area, that's the best way to protect your health. But of course, for many of us, that's not always a possibility. So we recommend that you stay indoors with your windows and doors closed if heat is not an issue. But if we have dense smoke while it's really hot, like we did last year, you're gonna wanna make sure that you protect yourself from the high heat before you protect yourself from the heavy smoke. So if heat is an issue and air conditioning is not available, visit an air cooling center. And those are centers that open up during wildfire season to provide filtered air to the public. You can also set your air conditioning units to recirculate both in the car and inside if your system has that mechanism. And that will just avoid pulling that smoky air inside. And finally, you can avoid adding pollution when levels are already high by not burning wood, not using lawn equipment, limiting your driving, and not barbecuing. And you may think it's kind of a no-brainer not to burn wood when there's really heavy smoke in the air like that, but during the campfire in 2018, we issued over 30 violations for burning wood on a day where there was just heavy, heavy smoke. So we don't want to add additional pollution when we already have really high levels like that. So we know that these fires are a result of years of impacts brought on by climate change, and we know that we're likely to experience them again. So the best strategy is to be aware that heavy smoke is in our future and to prepare your home and your family before these events happen.
As California wildfires become more frequent and intense, the best public health strategy is to be aware of smoke's health impacts and prepare yourself for future smoke events. Here are some preparedness tips for you and your family.
Weatherize the home in preparation for wildfires by replacing or refurbishing old, leaky windows and doors, and use caulking to seal the openings. Consider purchasing a non-ozone producing air purifier to create a cleaner air room in the home, or consider purchasing a MERV 13 or greater filter for your HVAC system to be used when experiencing a heavy smoke event. Consider upgrading to an HVAC system that allows for both heating and cooling and has the mechanism to switch to recirculate to prevent smoke from entering the space. Individuals with health conditions should talk to their physicians to develop a personal plan for smoke. Identify locations in your community that have filtered air spaces such as indoor shopping malls, local libraries, cooling centers, community centers, civic centers, and local government buildings. Make a plan to go to a cleaner air location if you are unable to seal your home or if dense smoke occurs during hot weather. Only masks rated at N95 or greater can protect against most fine particulate air pollution, although there is no clear evidence that using N95 respirators during a wildfire is beneficial to individuals' health and could be harmful. N95 or greater masks must be worn properly to be effective and are not effective for children or those with facial hair. Bandanas, cloth, and typical surgical masks do nothing to protect against wildfire smoke particles. The first and best defense is to avoid exposure to polluted air by staying indoors with windows and doors closed if temperatures allow. Wildfires occur without warning, quickly degrade air quality, and pose immediate health risk, but we can be prepared. Following these tips will help you prepare yourself and your family for a smoke event.
All right, so just to recap that video, the The best ways to prepare for wildfire season are here on the slide. And number one is to weatherize your home. And this one is number one for a reason. It's super important. Last year, after that month of bad air quality, I opened the door to the closet where my water heater is. And underneath the door was just this huge strip of like black soot and, particles on the ground. That would have gotten inside if the carpet didn't stop them. So if you remember that graphic at the beginning of the presentation, PM 2.5 particles are so tiny. They can just really get in from any tiny opening. So replace old windows and doors or seal them with caulking. Next, and this is a really good one as well, is you can purchase an air filter and you can put that in a single room of your home. Try not to put it in a room that's too large. And then you can have that room be a clean air space where you have filtered air and you can spend most of your time in that room when there's heavy smoke. You can also get a MERV 13 or greater filter for your heating and air conditioning system. That's just always great to have, even outside of wildfire season. You can also consider upgrading to a system that has that recirculate mechanism. And what that will do will just stop that smoky air from moving inside. Make a plan with your doctor, especially if you have specific health concerns. And finally, identify locations where there might be clean air centers in your community. Basically, just have a plan ready in advance. And with that, that ends my presentation. Thank you guys for inviting me to speak today. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Okay. I was wondering, this is Brian, I was wondering about the insert. Where do you get more information or the application?
Sure. Our program is not currently open and accepting applications, but it will reopen later this year. And there is a way that you can sign up with your email to get notified when it opens. And I'll be happy to send that information after the presentation.
Okay, that'd be great.
Sure.
I had a question about air monitoring. There's another system, I think it's called Blue Air or something like that. Are you familiar with
Purple
that?
Air. Yeah, very familiar with them.
And are they, is that an accurate system? Because it appears to have a larger number of monitors, thereby giving somewhat more specific measurements to locations around.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that one. So Purple Air has really become popular, especially over the last couple of years with these wildfires, because our network only updates air quality on an hourly basis. So during wildfires, you guys know it can change in just 10 minutes. So those Purple Air sensors,
Purple Air.
Yeah, Purple Air. They give you more of a real-time sense of air quality, but the problem with them is that they are low-cost sensors, right? Our EPA certified monitors can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. They are extremely accurate, and they're regularly serviced by air quality instrument specialists who know a lot about them and how to keep them running so that they're providing accurate data. Those Purple Air sensors, they don't have a dryer or a heater, so particles can accumulate inside and cause inaccurate readings. They often inflate readings. So a lot of times we'll get concerned members of the public sending us screenshots of Purple Air and saying, oh my gosh, like so poor outside, but they do tend to overinflate readings. And they also can't tell the difference between the small particles in wildfire smoke and particles like road dust or something.
Good, thank you. That's very helpful.
Yeah, I have a link that I should have included in this presentation, and I'd be happy to send it with the information Brian requested. It's a pilot project from last year from Air Now. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Air Now, but it is a map that combines data from our regulatory network with Purple Air so that it can provide more real-time information so people can, decide when to open their windows when a wildfire is happening.
Yeah, so we use Air Now is a good site to use, is what you're saying, right?
Yep, Air Now is a great resource.
Good, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I have another one. I have purchased a mask, and they have these inserts that you put in, and it says PM 2.5. So what does that insert do for me?
Yeah, so I also got one of those earlier this year, and I was talking to our scientists at the agency, and you know, it may help protect you further against coronavirus particles, but unfortunately those PM 2.5 filters that are really popular to just slide into your cloth masks or surgical masks, those provide no protection from wildfire smoke. You remember how tiny those particles are. They can get in through any opening in the mask. So it has to be an N95 or higher to protect against wildfire smoke.
Okay, and then they said that you shouldn't have facial hair. I mean, like anything, mustache.
Yeah,
goatee.
unfortunately for people with facial hair, N95s are not effective because those particles are so tiny. Anything that breaks the seal of the mask on your face can allow them to get inside your mask.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions?
I'll just ask one more.
Sure.
I have some association with land in Alabama, and down there, it's typical to do controlled burns to reduce the fuel load. Among other reasons, 70% of the land area of the state is owned by private timber owners, whereas in California, so much of the land is owned by the government, particularly the federal government. I would assume your agency probably does not like prescribed burns, even though it can control the major fires. Have you ever heard anything about that question?
Yeah, and actually quite the opposite. We encourage prescribed burning, but just within very set guidelines. One of the roles of our meteorologists is not only to alert the public when air quality is unhealthy, but to work with, to work on land management and to allow or not allow prescribed burns depending on the weather that day. So if, it's good weather and low pollution that day, they will allow prescribed burns. And we encourage them because they do reduce fuel and they do help when it comes to wildfire season. Prescribed burns have been a tool for land management dating back to when it was just indigenous people in California.
Good, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Okay, so thank you very much, Erin. I'm glad you were able to talk to us and give us an update on what's going on, especially now, just before the fire season starts. Maybe I can ask this last question. What do they have predictions of what's going to happen this summer? Because it seems like the weather isn't cooperating that much with rain.
Well, as much as we hope for the best, we haven't gotten as much rain as we need this season. So our meteorologists are telling us to gear up for another heavy wildfire season this summer. And of course, we're seeing the season get longer than it used to be. These fires are starting earlier and lasting later.
Yeah, great. Oh, not so great. All right. Thank you very much, Erin.
Okay.
Thank you. It was really good
Thank you guys for having
hearing
me.
from you.
Thanks
No
so much.
problem. No problem.
Bye.
Goodbye. Okay, so Rebecca, are you around? All right. I don't hear her. So I have a couple things I want to talk about. First, our next speaker is going to
I'm
be...
here, you guys, but I do have to go. I so apologize.
Okay. Our next speaker is Jen Lee, and she's going to be talking about tips to avoid common financial mistakes and scams during COVID-19. So that's Jen Lee on March 11th. Greg, I hope you talked to our friend Chris Chavez about having a
Oh,
great
Last I
Irish
heard that,
St. Patty's Day.
That Ken Tavernier was going to talk to him. When you were sitting
Yeah,
there
well.
drinking alcohol, that was your discussion.
Yes, I also sent Ken a bill, and he hasn't paid it yet. So we'll see what happens.
Now
The
you know how
next
Miles
thing,
feels.
yeah, well, we'll find out. Well, let's let him pay first, then ask Miles how he feels. we need to get that money. Okay, so here's my quiz on who read the grapevine. I know there was a mistake in there. I can't believe I made a mistake, but
What was that thing about?
well, that's not the question of. What's that?
What was that about Irish Americans? Who's Irish American?
There you go. Good job. Look at Miles. You see, you get paid for being aggressive and jumping right in there. That was my question. Well, I'm just getting you guys ready for St. Patty's Day, and I thought, being an Irish American myself, that wow, what a great proclamation. It was really beautiful. So Miles, what I'm going to be sending to people, I owe a lot of people stuff. I was going to send, the only thing I could think I could do, you know, under these circumstances, send a Starbucks gift card or, you know, Starbucks card. So I'll be sending that out to those who have won in the past.
Now,
Okay,
wouldn't a
so
better
do we
question
have,
be something like, did Brian make a mistake on the grapevine this week or not?
no, because I make a mistake every week. That's not right. And you know what? If you keep complaining, Greg, maybe you can start doing the grapevine.
That's what I told
Hey,
him.
I
did say
started
that.
it.
Better watch it. Next thing you know.
I started doing it,
Grateful
and
for
you did a
Brian.
good job taking over. It was awesome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else for the good of the club? All right. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, take care, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
Goodbye.
See
See you
y'all.
later, Bert. Oh, Bert, I'm coming by. I'll give you a call. I need you to sign something.
Okay.
So it'll be either tomorrow or or some other day or Monday.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay, take care.
All right. See you guys later. Johnny, nice seeing you. Come back soon.
Have fun skiing, John.
Yeah.